This is the Millennials Podcast.
Have you ever had a dream that you want him to do you so much you could do anything?
All right, welcome to the Millennials Podcast, episode number 5.
Woohoo!
Kaio's back.
Yeah,
We
it feels
missed him
good to be
greatly. We have 2 guests today because they're good friends of ours and they're super cool and they both have great voices. So
That's not weird.
We're about to let a lot of people
That's
down.
their only redeeming quality.
Ooh.
So dang.
I'll take it. I'll take it.
All right, I'm Jason, 89.
I'm Katie, 1992.
Matt, 91.
Ashley, 90.
Kaio, 90.
And Ralph, 91.
I'm the baby.
Dang, we're old. So what are we talking about today?
All right, today we're talking about, I don't even know how to name the episode yet, but dreams, aspirations, goals, that whole shtick.
Dreams.
Does anyone here have dreams currently that you want to talk about today on it? Nothing vague. Like, do you have something specific you're going to mention?
Yes.
No.
Yeah.
Perhaps.
Is this a yes or no question here?
Yeah, yes or no?
Yeah, just easy. Yes or no?
Maybe.
Middle ground, I like it.
That is Ralph.
That's a possibly.
Possibly? Dang, this is kind of sad.
All right.
I mean,
You're proving the statistics so far.
well, as usual, can we define what we mean by a dream? What is a dream?
Okay, we're not talking about when you go to sleep.
Of course not.
Those movies in your
Because
head.
Charlie was going to be on this episode, and this whole entire time, he was like, I told him today, and he was like, oh, I thought you meant like sleeping.
No.
That's a good topic,
A
though.
whole episode.
That would put people to sleep.
Jeez.
I'd listen.
To fall asleep. Yeah.
That ASMR voice.
All right, so I want to read something. It's an article called Millennials, Bridging Dreams and Reality. It's from millennialmarketing.com. So it's a little lengthy. Actually, Matt is going to read it. Go ahead.
Matt is going to read it. You're literally like exploiting like my worst fear when I was going through high school right now. Like
Reading?
I never wanted to get called.
I
You
was
never had those teachers
always
that were...
the jump-in reader. I
Not
was
only
like,
that,
I want the next paragraph, damn it.
I was begging
That
for
was
like
me.
the 2-sentence paragraphs.
Oh,
or like
I
the one
wanted
with
the long
there's
one.
a picture right
I
there.
wanted the long one.
No.
no, not only that, but Matt doesn't think he has a good voice either. Even though like every
But
girl,
he do.
yeah, every girl I talk to is like,
What?
damn.
She talks to a lot of
Voice.
women.
Mostly my mom.
Are you pimping him out?
It's mostly her mother.
I know, this kind
Yeah.
of sounds confusing right now,
All right.
Katie.
I don't see anything confusing about it.
Oh, God.
It's pretty normal.
Well,
So
damn.
from where am I reading from? Okay.
Go ahead.
Millennials define their identity in terms of dreams and passions, yet we have also observed that they generally do not have a clear vision of how they will accomplish those dreams. They have high expectations on being successful in life, yet a vague idea of the connection between college and career and exactly how careers progress. There is often a disconnect between where they are and exactly the steps that are required to get there. They sense that the traditional paths followed by their parents of, as one young man put it, high school, college, career, and death have shifted. There are more options, yet more choice also brings greater uncertainty. One of the challenges of understanding this unique generation is embracing these apparent contradictions. On the one hand, Gen Y is the most educated and well-prepared generation ever, yet is the slowest to achieve the traditional markers of adulthood. They are both optimistic and uncertain, confident and anxious. They believe passionately in their dreams and measure their current situation with those dreams as a reference point.
So I thought that was really interesting, especially the very, very last part where it said that we are the most educated and prepared, yet the slowest to get to traditional markers of adulthood. Do you guys agree with that?
Yeah, the part that also stood out to me was the part about all the choices.
I have to say one thing I don't necessarily agree with is the whole, what does it say, anxious and confident, optimistic and uncertain, confident and anxious. I feel like that is been something across the board for people in their 20s, like throughout at least American history. I think our generation is so much more outspoken about it in terms of we write movies about it, especially indie movies are all about like that uncertainty and anxiousness, and before it was like not talked about as much. But I totally agree with that whole like we're not reaching adult markers or whatever it said at the same rate that, you know, in the past has been, and that's interesting. But I think that whole like having uncertainty and anxiousness and all that's just part of becoming an adult across the board.
What do you guys think are one of the roadblocks due to that? Like, why haven't we been able to reach our goals or reach where we want to be? What do you think is a roadblock?
I don't want to make everything money, but I mean economy. That
What do you mean?
stops a lot of people.
Like where someone is
Like what we've talked about, availability of jobs, how minimum wage has stayed at a certain spot, but cost of living keeps going higher and higher. Like one of the markers of adulthood for a lot of people is buying a house. How are you supposed to do that if you're only making X, Y, and Z of money? And you know,
Yeah, a lot of it comes, well, for me at least, it comes from just how I was raised, I think, and not to like use that as a crutch, like, oh, I was raised a certain way, so that's how I'm gonna end up. But I was never taught about money. That was never something I was taught, like, and as a result, I'm 25 and have like really bad credit. So yeah, it just wasn't something I was taught. So that's kind of what's holding me back from like launching fully, like it.
Would you
immersing
consider
into
yourself
adulthood.
a dreamer though? Like I see you as one, but do you consider
Really?
yeah.
I'm not sure, to be honest.
what do you see in him that makes him a dreamer to you?
I'm gonna cry, I feel.
Well, just his character. Like he pushes really hard for things that he wants. So in that, I see him as someone who's goal oriented, just based on what he does daily.
Well, I think I'm just a general hard worker. So like anything I'm doing, I'm working super hard at it. I mean, I might not be the best at it, but I'm gonna definitely work super hard at it. But at the same time, it just feels like I'm running full speed and kind of getting nowhere.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's the situation for a lot of millennials. I was reading up on Forbes, and it said that the biggest roadblock to success for millennials who do have dreams, like we do have goals and we do want to achieve them in the future, but the biggest one is debt and finances. You know, where we're leading at like over $13,000 in debt.
Yeah,
Ranging from like 21 to 25, and then that triples in your late 20s, which are a few of us anyways. So
like I could be in school right now, but I'm working a second job to pay off debt.
yeah.
And they don't talk about it in high school either. You learn all this other stuff and not a lot about, you know, debt and finances and
Exactly.
practical things.
How to go about that.
That should be a
stuff.
mandatory class where they teach you about how to get a mortgage. They teach you about how to do your taxes. They teach you about how to build credit.
Budget
like,
in general.
That doesn't exist. Like that's
Write a
not.
check.
They have an accounting class, but there should be a class that just about life that's mandatory instead of learning about like mitochondria and like spending like two years learning about the freaking plant cell.
Yeah. I understand learning stuff general so that you understand how life works, actual life, you know. But I've said that so many times to Ashley. Like, I didn't learn how to sign a check in school. Like, my mom showed me how. I didn't learn how, you know what I mean? Like, certain...
I was taught how to do that in 4th grade.
Were you?
In
What?
class.
Well, okay, cool. They taught it, but, like, that is not a time to learn it. 4th
yeah,
grade?
that's true.
Like,
I would've
I know how to
forgot.
do it.
Yeah.
I guess, yeah, but...
What school is
But
this?
just things like that, especially like taxes. I mean, taxes are kind of fairly simple. Why don't they just go ahead and teach that right off the bat, you know?
All right.
So many people
Here's
are
the thing.
so overwhelmed by them.
I hear that argument all the time that why don't they have a life class for this? I mean, but like people are having a hard time passing the classes that they are given already. Like you need, taxes, sure, but you need to know math, and people don't want to learn math. So what are you gonna do?
Yeah, but you only need a certain level of math. You don't need trigonometry.
You need
like
basic
you should be
arithmetic.
learning. You should be learning what you're gonna do when you get out of school before you learn beyond that.
Yeah, but I don't think high schoolers even have that mentality of what am I doing when I'm done with high school.
Well, that would be part of the class, though. I mean,
I think
to
that's
teach them what
I think
they should do.
a huge part of high school is what am I going to do after high school. At least at my high school, it was a huge deal.
I think he means a lot of people don't dwell on it, though.
Well, dwelling on it and learning about it is two separate things, I think. But especially junior and senior year, that's where everyone starts gearing up like, whoa, like I'm almost done here.
Yeah,
I'm
what am I
about
gonna do
to be
now?
an adult. What am I going to do? I think that class would be
Beneficial
huge. It'd be
towards
so
everyone.
beneficial
Yep.
for students
Yeah.
to learn.
Well, do you guys have any dreams or goals in particular that you'd like to share on this episode?
Can I just go off what he said for a second, kind of leading into that?
Sure.
When high school was over, I don't know why I thought this. I didn't really see it happen to many people. But when high school was over, I thought it was going to be like, okay, high school's over and you go to college and it's just going to be like this dreamy, like
ramp up
in life. Just like,
Really?
Escalator
I
to
did
money.
not feel that way.
No, not, I mean, just like, oh, you graduated high school? Here you go to college. And then you're going to be leaving college like straight right walking into a job, like almost like a movie is how I saw it. Like,
I,
and it is
yeah.
The
not
Truman
like that.
Show.
I really
did not see that at all.
I didn't feel that at all. I felt like college was just part of the track back in high school. It was just something I was supposed to do.
Well, once I got to college, I felt like it was just high school number 2.
Yeah, I went away, and it was pretty much like that. I was just kind of living in a fairy tale until grades kind of came tumbling down on me, and then I think that's when I had like my crisis. It was probably like around 19, and I'd already been in college for about a year.
And you went to school in a college town.
Yeah, I went to
Oh,
a
yeah.
big college town. And it was just, there's so many distractions, and I feel like leaving the high school environment where you've got someone breathing down your neck if you're even standing in the hallway, to so much freedom.
Yeah.
And you just feel like your presence there, like in high school, is enough, and it's really not.
Say freedom again. You say it so good.
Freedom.
Oh, man.
I think I heard a bald eagle in the background.
Some fireworks, maybe some NASCAR.
All right. Since we're talking about what dreams some people may have, I'm going to speak on behalf of Joey because he texted me something that he wanted to say.
Jason.
My boy Joey.
Oh man, Joey adds such a
Yes.
Joey element.
What he has
The
to
best.
say here, you guys may have something to say off of. It's really well worded. So this is what he had to say about things relating to what he thinks about dreams. Hard work kicks talent's butt tenfold! Exclamation point. A quote by Chuck Jones: "Every artist has thousands of bad drawings in them, and the only way to get rid of them is to draw them out." What I take this to mean for most things that require certain skills, even if it doesn't come naturally to you. If you work hard on it consistently, you will succeed. Time needs to be put into exercising those skills. If you are talented, quote, talented, you still need to put in the practice and always give 200%. Perfect practice makes perfect. In order to succeed, you need to have humble mindset. There will be people who know more than you, and instead of getting frustrated and trying to prove yourself better, you can ask for help. One thing I learned from the industry is that there will always be kids younger than you who happen to know more than you, or just might have started putting the work in to that skill earlier than you. Ask questions, learn from them. If you truly want to better yourself, then don't be afraid of feeling stupid. I totally relate to that.
Yeah. I read somewhere that said, like, create a strategic plan, not a static one. That's really good
good.
stuff, Joe.
If you would have read me that,
It's not over.
Oh.
okay, go ahead.
Well, that
save my
pause,
comment
man.
for the end.
I just
Jeez.
had to say I really relate to that. Like sometimes, like, because you know I play drums, and not that I'm pursuing a career in drums, but like I see these kids like 16, 17 playing way better than me, like way better than me now. So I'm like, ugh. Anyways, always ask and learn and take notes so that you're not asking the same questions over and over. Also, if you see someone who needs help, don't be a snob with your knowledge. Share. You never know who the person may be in the future, which is so true. They will succeed with or without you. The difference is if you help them, they will remember you. Chasing a dream alone is tough. This is a good one. Group yourself with friends who dream as big as you. You can get tired of chasing a dream, especially if it's a long-term one. And when you have friends, they can always keep you on track.
What a wise old soul.
Oof.
I feel like if you would have read me that quote, I would know that it was from Joey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a really important thing for his career as well, because art is so competitive. I mean, every career, honestly, is really competitive.
I wouldn't say art is really that competitive.
You don't think so?
I don't think participating, like,
Okay,
In one piece
limited
of art.
jobs for a lot of
People who are
looking for
creative.
out of-
yeah.
Yeah, that maybe that's what I mean, is
That's
that you
yeah.
really have to put yourself out there. You know, it's not always just it's not gonna just come to you.
Yeah, it's not just like, I don't know, like a resume isn't good enough. Like being an artist, you have like you bring your art with you, and that your portfolio or whatever that counts as your resume. But it's like, this is me. Like this is like they get to see a part of you, whereas a resume is just like words on a paper, I think.
Yeah.
Katie,
So that's pretty cool.
dream, go.
I want to have a dope life. No.
I almost thought you said a dough life, and I
No.
just saw
I feel like we've started out pretty serious so far, but
No, be funny.
But legit, like I want to. I want to be a child psychologist, so I'm in school right now, starting from the bottom.
I didn't know that.
Super the bottom. Oh, you didn't know that?
You started from the bottom, and now you're gonna one
Really
day you're
the
gonna
bottom.
get to say, "Now I'm here,"
Yeah.
and it'll finish that.
So
I
ready.
mean, you can
Line.
always say I'm here.
No, I have
Ain't
so
you-
far ahead of
ain't
me.
you
I'm not even
lyric?
thinking about it. But yeah, I that's my main thing right now, and that's coming from literally 4 years after high school, being absolutely obsessed with the idea of my dream job, and letting that obsession actually hinder me, just like it was talking about in the article. It's like that overthinking thing that I do in general. But I think when it comes to, I think a lot of us are trying to avoid our parents' mistakes and watching not only our parents, but our parents' friends, and
Yeah.
how they, a Sunday night, they're all just like sitting around depressed as hell, like waiting for, the next day to roll around. And we're all honestly just trying to like correct that mistake. But you can't, I don't know. I don't think that's the right approach to go about it. I think you need to like genuinely start your search from, where you're at, kind of thing. Anyway, and then the other thing I was going to say about that was, I know, it's like a quote that I've heard recently. It was like, don't go searching for your dream job. Make your job that you're at right now your dream job in a lot of ways. And you're always going to have jobs that aren't great.
Ashley
do you mean?
disagrees.
Sorry. Keep going.
But by that, I mean, like, you take the job that you're at right there and you, like, throw your all into it, and I don't know.
I can see that aspect of it, like making the situation you're in right now a fortunate one, and being glad at where you are and being purposeful in your life right now at where you're at in your job. But I mean, there are some people that are working a job right now, like myself, or a certain type of job or several jobs that aren't their goal or their dreams, and
Just
they're doing it
stepping
to
stones.
make it to live,
Yeah, but I think she meant like treat it like your dream job. That way you're putting maximum effort.
In putting
I could
maximum
see that.
effort, I can see that's what I'm saying. I can see that aspect, but
Not
some
making
people
it your
may,
dream as in I'm here.
some
I'm
people
already
may
done.
hear that and just totally understand where you are right now. Make that your just blatantly make that your dream job. Make that.
Yeah, it's not
where you're
across the
gonna
board.
be.
I think that was my experience because I worked at a school in California for a while, and every day I dreaded it, and I was counting the clock, and I was just a teacher's assistant at the time, and I was just waiting to walk out of class or whatever, and I was I just don't like the school environment. It's just not for me. It's not my dream place. I just need to find this perfect environment where I can just be myself and work the way I want to work with these kids and this and that. And and it wasn't until I actually got a job being a tutor for this family, and the same thing happened all over again. I was this is just not the right environment for me, this and that. And instead, when I was I'm so sick of having that dread feeling every time I go to school or to work, and I'm just going to do whatever it takes to turn it around and make this job a job that I love for myself. And so I instead tried to work out every way to get these kids to be passionate about what they were learning and everything, and it became my favorite job I've ever had. And it was a low-paying job, and the hours were weird and everything, and I wound up loving it just because mindset-wise, there's a cross between finding your dream job and also not just sitting around at the job that you're at this is just not right for me, this is never going to work for me, and making it work for yourself.
I think that
I agree with
goes
what you're
back
saying.
to why we're not hitting life markers, adult life markers, as early, because we won't. A lot of us won't settle for a job on the way to our dream job.
Yeah, I was kind of gonna say something like that, in the sense that I think a lot of people think dream job like previous generations grew up with like, okay, you work hard and you work for the things that are your dreams. But I don't think that they had the mindset that they had a dream job. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's true.
They were just like workhorse. And I think we grew up with this idea of dream job and we think perfect, and it's not going to be perfect. And I think that we learn along the way, the jobs you're talking about, that it takes to get there. Certain things we will need, like for something that could be an example is I work with a guy that will definitely never hear this. He probably doesn't even know what podcasts are, I'm sure.
Literally.
But he is a pain in the butt to deal with. Just when he calls me on the phone, like the first word out of his mouth is always something that's just like makes you cringe. But I'm learning how to deal with him, and I think that's good. The more people you learn how to deal with, maybe that's the more kind of people you can handle with whatever the job you're trying to go for is. But we can keep talking about jobs, but I just want to note that we don't have, like, dreams don't mean jobs. We can talk about whatever else.
Yeah, I think that just like that perspective shift and less of like how to make this job perfect or how to, like, you're always trying to avoid all the parts that you hate about the job instead of just taking them and learning from them and like making them work for, your future job.
Yeah. Matt?
I don't have any dreams.
Lies.
I know. That is amazing that you did that vocally.
Thank you.
That was, oh my gosh.
Thank you very much.
So, yeah, my dream isn't really more, I don't have objective dreams.
Okay, but you don't have to
Honestly.
have a like I was saying, you don't have to have a dream job kind of thing.
Yeah.
Do you have, there's things you want, like you got to get done before you die, like a bucket list kind of thing?
No, it's really not. It's more of a state of mind. I have not a state of mind, state of being. I really have more of a dream.
That's
state
totally,
of being.
going to Middle Eastern here.
Ooh,
Okay.
okay. No, it's really more me pursuing being happy, being content, and being busy. I do not like being complacent for too long.
Yeah, me too.
So right now my thing's gardening, super manly.
Cool.
That is manly.
I got squash and beans going.
Weren't you an Eagle Scout?
I'm also an Eagle Scout, so I enjoy the
I am
outdoors.
an Eagle Scout.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
I am. Oh, it's not a word.
Once an Eagle Scout,
It's
always
always
an Eagle
an Eagle
Scout.
This guy knows.
Not really.
Yeah, well, you're not wrong. No, it's the only rank that you carry over after you're 18. So it's something you are for life. But it's more of an ideal that I really hold and I kind of pursue. So I'm either, if I am complacent, and I say that really hesitantly because it sounds like I'm doing nothing when I'm complacent, but it's happy. I'm happy because I'm already kind of reaching where I want to be.
Comfortable.
Comfort, yeah, I'm comfortable.
That's very interesting.
And then when I'm changing things, it's because I'm not. So I don't have a problem going out and pursuing. But I also had a big problem with drive. I've heard a couple of times come up on the podcast that you try really hard for the things you want. And I honestly didn't have to do that until I was out of college.
Yeah, I feel you.
I
Really? Always had to do that.
Me too. That's all I've ever done is try.
Yeah, everything came
Lower
really
middle
easy
class.
to him.
Yeah. No, I come from. I'm not in the dark about the fact that I've come from a pretty privileged upbringing. So my grandfather and my father are both college educated. My mom worked a great job that she loved. So income's never been an issue. I've always had a house that we owned. I've always been going to schools, high school.
Super smart. Academics came really easy
academics
for him.
weren't a problem at all either.
So we have a nice mix here then.
Yeah.
Because I've moved nine times in my childhood, and
I moved.
My mother was the
once.
first one to ever get a college education.
I'm first generation.
Hey,
My sister's the first female in my family to get more than an AA degree.
I thought you were gonna say the first.
No, it's my family.
My sister was the first person in my family.
The first female.
No,
Ow.
my family's English, and they also, my father's side's from the Caribbean. So back in the days, it really wasn't the woman was the homemaker and the guy went out and earned money. So my grandfather went to the Royal Agriculture School. My father went to the Royal Agriculture School. They didn't have to deal with the same things I did because England
Different
pays
age.
for your college. Yep. But my grandmother and my mom both worked kind of just jobs to make ends meet while they were taking care of the house. So I'm the first male to go to college in America and having to deal with the American school system. But my sister is the first female in my family to go and actually get a degree.
Cool.
Hey,
Very nice.
good job, Matt's sister.
I know,
Family
right?
What's her name?
milestones?
Let's shout her out.
Fiona
Ooh,
got me.
what a nice
Not
name.
like Shrek. She got very upset about that.
Fiona.
That
I
was a
wasn't gonna go there.
Oh,
Yeah.
she goes there every time.
Look at that interesting point you made. How different you all are, but you're both still screw ups. It's pretty cool.
Oh, shots fired. Jeez. But
Just
no,
kidding.
everything
Let's take the
everything
mic away from him.
everything really fell into order for me. So whenever I was at a confused point, I would just kind of look at my parents, be like, "Whoa," and they,
Like Scooby.
pretty much
that way.
I'd be like, "Yeah, you go that way." And so even when I was given options, they were like, "Good job," or maybe I was given freedom. I was never told what exactly to do. I was encouraged whichever direction I wanted to go.
I think that's good parenting.
Academic, yeah, I had great parents. I love my parents.
That's awesome.
And
So where are you right now, Matt?
right now, I am working in a hospital. I'm one of the few from my college that I stayed in touch with that actually work in their field.
That's great.
But when I graduated college, I just kind of got to the point. I was like, well, what now? And then they were like, anything. And I was like, whoa, that's
Wow,
I was like, but like a general idea? And they were like, nope, anything you want. So it was really kind of concerning. That was the first time I actually had to start making decisions and making moves. And then when I did, I looked, and there was no more college fund, there was no more savings, and there was no more support. And then that was the first time that I honestly had to go and earn 100% of something I wanted to do, which hasn't been an issue, luckily. There was a bit of a learning curve, but yeah, I went out and I pursued. I reached what I needed to do in order to pursue anything further, which ended up being the hike on the PCT. And then after I got back here, I started working my job in the hospital, and now I've decided I want something more, and I'm back in school. So it hasn't been too much of an issue, but definitely kind of compared to everybody else at the table I've heard, it was kind of a late blooming experience for me from when I actually had to kind of get my act together.
Something you said is kind of reminiscent of like the whole American dream thing, which I think is interesting. So you said when you're done with college, or was it when you're going to college, that you were like, okay, what do I do? And they were like, anything. And you're like, okay, but like a general idea?
Yeah.
Because there's this thing, a study that's been shown that millennials actually prefer to be given some
Steered.
choice, but
Yeah.
like kind of shown a direction, like go this way. And even though one of the main reasons, America was born was religious freedom, there was a sense of like, no one's going to tell me what to do. I'm going to do what I want, freedom. And I think that we've gotten to the point where like, okay, there's certain things established and we're safe and we're X, Y, and Z. And now we truly have the freedom of like, all right, whatever you want to do. And everyone's just like, we don't know what we want to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that's where our generation is at.
I think there's a lot of things in life that prove that restriction actually forces creativity and forces resilience and that kind of thing. So it's kind of interesting. It's almost like
arranged marriage.
Honestly, there's so many like weird things
were
in
ready.
life that you would think are so like suppressive or oppressive, and within those areas is what brings out like the most beautiful like inventions and creations and art, honestly, and everything. So
The human race is discovering, I'm sure, that boundaries are a good thing. But
Yeah.
anyways,
Anyways,
Ashley.
That's me.
she's eating a big old piece of pizza.
90s reference. If y'all got that, you're cool.
Nope.
All
You
that?
didn't get that?
Amanda Bynes?
All that.
Dear Ashley, that's me.
She's like sitting on the bed
I didn't
reading.
have cable TV till I was 10.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was on.
What
when you were
privilege
10.
did you have?
Yeah. I guess we got to reassess the privilege thing. I grew up in like Podunky, Virginia.
Yeah,
where
like-
it gets real skinny and fat again? That. I lived in
I
the
don't.
crook.
I mean, I was in the hood, but we were watching all that on cable.
No, I was like thrown out. I was like chucked out the back door with like a stick and told to have a good time.
Aw.
Wait, what do
I
you mean?
loved
That's
it. It was
good.
awesome.
That is
Yeah, I
good,
love
but
that.
like the comparison. It's just, do we peek?
Yes. All right, go.
That's what she said. Okay. Are you asking me if I have dreams or goals?
Yeah, that's what we're doing.
Dreams or goals. I do have dreams. I do have goals, but they're not at the level that some people have. I have simple ones like be happy, which I know you do have too. That you do have too, Jason. But there are certain things that I do want to achieve in this life, and if they don't happen, then I'll be fine with them. But they are something that constantly, like, or on the
Well,
back
what are
corner
they?
of my mind. I guess they would be dreams. Like if
What
they're
are they?
constantly there, I'm
Yeah,
going to
that's-
share it.
yeah.
Give me a second. Dang it. Let me speak.
We know what the topic is.
Shut your mouth. Well, like 1, I want to make a film. 2, I want to see snow. It's
What
not
kind
on
of
a
film?
great scale. I'm not sure yet, but big
Like,
picture.
okay, is the dream to just make one, or is it like it needs to be released in a theater? Like, what's the dream?
I want to make one that's worth mentioning.
Okay,
That's all I've got.
that you would show people.
Yes.
Okay.
See snow. Super simple. Definitely want to move to Oregon. So if anyone's out there that's listening right now, let us visit. Just things like that are just like constantly in the back of my mind ever since I was little. So, I mean,
Matt
Right
is
now,
amazed
where
right
I
now that
am-
you haven't seen snow.
You haven't seen snow?
Sorry, he's like
never.
gawking
It's-
over there.
I'm 25.
I'm-
I've never seen snow.
I have
I've
never
heard-
seen snow either.
I've heard that so many times,
Lower
and I
middle
shouldn't
class.
be as shocked as I am. I shouldn't be as shocked as I am, but it's just
Why?
We didn't
Because
travel.
I've-
I've
well,
lived here my whole life. We
I
lived
know.
in
I worked
Miami.
for a while
I've
where I
never
led
seen snow.
snowboarding trips, though, and every single time there would be people that hadn't seen snow, and it was so magical for them. And growing up in Virginia,
I have high
snow was
hopes.
such.
I have
It's great.
high hopes.
Well, you know what? They brought that truck over to my elementary school, and they got
Sludge.
that they brought over
Forgot
that
about that.
the shaved ice, and they let us slide around on it, and it was so hard.
My university brought one of those, and they were like chucking in huge chunks of ice. It was supposed to grind up into snow, and it was throwing out like 2-inch blocks of ice.
Oh my gosh, that's so
Wait,
dangerous.
since we're talking about snow, real quick sidetrack.
Snow.
Heather will love that I mentioned this. Heather's is my sister. First time we ever saw snow, I went snowboarding. My family went skiing, and
We saw a turd in the snow.
no,
The end.
Oh, I thought
they
that was
they
weird.
told us at the bottom of the hill. They told us. I mean, it's like one of the first things they told us. Don't throw snowballs at the bottom of the hill. There's rocks. Inevitably, one of the snowballs is gonna have a rock in it. And so I pick it. I make a snowball, and I'm feeling it, and I'm like, "There's nothing hard in this." So I chuck it at my sister. Right in her head, big old rock in it.
Oh my gosh!
There was actually
like-
no snow.
It was just a big rock.
And she was like, "Ah!" Started crying, and I got in trouble, and like I couldn't snowboard for the first like 20 minutes, so that they were like trying to figure everything out. So,
That
yeah.
Just like an
wow!
eternity at that
What a
age.
punishment!
That's
No,
an eternity
no. You
at
have
that
to
age.
sit
That's cruel
For
and
20
unusual.
minutes.
Listen,
My
they
sister's
paid
unconscious. I'm like, no, I can't snowboard. Gosh.
she wasn't unconscious. But if you were a parent and you paid $100-something for your kid to go do something, you'd be like, you'd shorten it.
Who's getting punished? Then they are because they're paying, and you're not.
They
you're
were
not
pretty
doing it.
angry, but anyways, that was sidetracking. Go ahead, Ashley.
Lesson learned?
Yeah, I never threw a rock at her again.
Oh, good.
Well, like I was saying,
Or a snowball.
I do have dreams and goals, but I mean, I don't really know where goals lie in the spectrum of dreams. I know they're similar, but would you consider them the same thing? Probably not. But I do have like daily goals, like people that I interact with. I want to make sure that I'm the best me with people, and that people, not that they get what they deserve, but they get honor and they get respect and they get love from me. So I don't really know if that is considered a dream, but it is a daily goal of mine as well. But other than that, I mean, I don't know. I'm not really doing anything right now to achieve the film dream, and I'm not really doing anything right now to achieve the snow dream because I just got a new job and
We will.
I can't take a
I
vacation
promise
yet.
you, we will see snow this year.
Wow.
Ooh.
How about that?
Zion.
Okay.
Cards
Oh, look,
on
I'll
the
Google it
table.
right now. I'll Google it right
He
now.
knows where to get some cocaine.
Let me text my plug. Hold on.
Look, we go.
Don't play with me. My heart just skipped a beat.
Did you hear what I
Oh.
said? I said, look, I'll Google it right now.
What are you going to Google?
Snow.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even catch that.
Let's take a break really quick because we have a sponsor.
What?
Dead serious. Our sponsor, first sponsor, thank you, Candace and Katie, are
Yeah, you guys are
the
swell.
Free Sex Podcast. The
Woo!
best sex is free is their slogan. It's about married couples and sex and how to keep it interesting, how to keep it new, and they talk about a lot of topics that a lot of people are kind of afraid to talk about.
Yeah.
Like, for example,
Anal
periods.
sex.
Yeah, period sex. Is it okay?
Conditions.
Is it okay to touch yourself when you're married? What BDSM?
Just things that are considered taboo to a lot of people, and that's what I really enjoy about their podcast, and I listen to it whenever there's a new one because I know a few people, like maybe 2 or 3, that are freed up to talk about that stuff, which is how I think it should be. And I just really enjoy knowing that there are other people in the world that have no qualms about sharing their lives and about helping other people, and realizing that it's okay to talk about, you know, what you feel is free in that department. So yeah, Candace and Katie, you guys are great.
Yeah, check them out. Free Sex Podcast. All right, Kyle.
One thing I really wanted to touch on, I guess Ashley kind of brought it up. Well, you said you were unsure of if goal and dream are the same thing or if they're different.
Mm-hmm.
So I searched the definitions, and goal has such a lame definition. It says something that
It says goal.
That's one of them. An area or object into which a ball or puck must be hit.
Is that definition 3? That sounds like a definition.
That's definitely not a
3.
dream.
That's definition 2.
Ooh.
3 is the act of hitting or kicking a ball or puck into a goal.
Who's your
Who
source?
cares? This is Merriam-Webster. So this is like
Who's
the,
she?
Oh, good old Miriam.
this is the source. But the first definition of a goal, the one that's relevant to this podcast, is something that you are trying to do or achieve. Something that you're trying to do. Like, what does that even mean? That's so lame. Something you're trying to do. It's just
goal.
it's just
So like
a goal.
if I feel it in my stomach, in
Like,
my
I'm
bowels,
just trying to
and I
do
have go
that.
the
I'm trying to do
bathroom,
this thing. This is my
I
goal.
need
That's
to
a goal.
do this. Is that a goal?
What was that?
Like if I feel motion in my bowels, I need to go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
It's something I need to do. So is that a goal?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
have
it
a
is a
goal
goal.
to release these bowels.
Your main goal is
Short-term
to
and
not
long-term
crap your
goals,
pants.
Short term.
So then I looked up the definition of dream, and
Mm-hmm.
of course I had to sift through all the ones about like a literal dream. And the one that stood out to me that was pretty cool is a strongly desired goal or purpose. That's a good word, purpose. And then it's like had A and then B, and B says something that fully satisfies a wish.
Ooh.
Dang,
That's
they're
some
just
Disney
throwing
stuff
out-
right there,
Yeah.
Right? Oh, Miriam. Fully satisfying wishes over here.
Dreamer, Marianne.
So yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. Dreams are something that satisfy a wish, but what scares me is fully satisfied. What does that even mean? Like, how do you fully satisfy something? Like,
Well,
I don't
I
know
mean,
if my dream will ever
That's the chase, right?
fully be satisfied.
It's the same feeling as when you go to Taco Bell and you eat.
I was about to say Chipotle.
Yeah.
I'm satisfied.
I am always extremely satisfied at Chipotle. Yeah. And so is Chipotle my dream then?
Lower middle class.
I wish they were paying us to say all this.
Chipotle.
Yeah.
Don't mention them again.
Next sponsor.
Taco Bell, I will get a tattoo
This-
if you give me free Taco
This is
Bell.
the second time that's been mentioned, so it has to happen.
Stop pouring yourself out at the podcasts, please.
Please, I just want tacos.
But since I'm already talking, I'll just mention I'll mention one of my dreams, I guess work related dreams, since everyone else was talking about work. I currently work with kids with special needs, and I was introduced to this field when I was a teenager. I started volunteering with my sister, and I just fell in love with it. So I've done everything from tutoring to teacher's assistant to I'm a registered behavior tech now, so I currently do that. And I also teach art and music, which is like my favorite part about it right now.
I didn't
And
even think about that part of your job.
the art and music
Like
part?
you're dealing with the type of kids you want to deal with in the field that you, or in the art that you like.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Thank you. I really, another part of anything, like any dream that I have has to have some kind of creativity in it. I'm a very generally creative person. I'm not like a master at anything, but I'm just a creative person. Like I enjoy singing, I enjoy dancing, I enjoy visual art. Like I said, I'm not great at any of it, but I really enjoy all of it. Like I think I'm okay in all of those things. And I think it's great that I have a job where I not only get to, it's challenging. I'm challenging my art and the musical part of myself, but I also get to work in my field with kids with special needs. So the money isn't the best, but I would say I'm currently working my dream job.
I feel like that's the only thing missing for you right now.
Yeah, is the money thing.
Yeah.
Right? Would you say
And
that?
the girlfriend thing.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
The money.
Job
Threw
wise.
him under a
Job
bus.
wise.
No, you want
Jeez.
that, don't you?
Yeah,
Well, then-
eventually that would be really nice. Or now, yeah. why not?
Right now, email us at millennialspodcast@gmail.com.
Whenever.
I wasn't here
preferably now.
for the singles podcast, so I couldn't, put on my I don't have a sexy voice. I was gonna try.
Try
but I
one,
gave
try
up.
one, please,
Try one.
No.
please.
No. If you would have seen, I just like adjusted my posture to try to
It
get
was-
some kind of a nice voice
There
out.
was some
but
peacocking going on.
I gave up. Peacocking. Peacock should never be a verb. Okay, let's not. But yeah, I think the money part of it, but that's also partly my fault. Like bad credit, no finances in school, and blah blah
But
blah.
what you get
and-
paid at the job that you are employed at right now has nothing to do with.
Exactly. And besides, where I'm at now, like even the highest paid position is not that much.
Sufficient.
But I mean, who knows? I would love to one day have my own thing, not and like be my own boss and have my own company. And I have all these really good ideas, and I want to like patent something or invent something. And
That has to do with your field?
yes,
Like
and
patent or invent something that has to do with special needs kids?
yeah, well, yes, and maybe not. But
Oh, so you're just naming a dream then?
Exactly.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and well, like for example, at my job right now, I came up with. I'm not gonna go into details because the idea might get stolen, but it's something that helps kids regulate their behaviors, and it's a form of communication, and it gives them choice, which is such a huge deal for kids with special needs. By the way, I don't know if I mentioned that's a huge passion of mine, like dream and passion. I don't know if that's the same thing.
Yeah, passion.
Sure.
It's the same, right? Okay, so it's a form of giving them the freedom of choice, which they don't have since they lack that communication factor. So I kind of invented this thing at my job for one of the kids that I work with for behavior. And today I had 2 separate staff members come to me and they want to use what I made with their kids.
That's how it starts.
And I was like, bing, light bulb. I need to make this thing. I need to make it a thing and give it a name and buy all the domain names for it so that I can,
You need to patent it. That's what you need
make
to do.
money off of this thing. So I am blessed and I'm glad that I get to do what I get to do.
Way up.
I feel blessed. I did the life I deserve. Sorry, I had to. I couldn't.
Yes.
I
My
couldn't.
grandma just died on the man of the house. It's the best, worst line in the song. Ralph.
Yes.
Hopes, dreams.
What's your
visions.
dreams, boy? Boy, I got a hiccup.
As far as dreams goes, I don't have one that exactly is a job, but a job could be the vehicle in which I achieve it. Mostly what I want is just to get my art out there and just to be enjoyed by people.
What is
And-
your art before
Well,
you continue?
There's not one specific thing. Whatever the means happen to be in my life at the time that I'm currently either enjoying more than the others, whether it be just visual art like drawings and paintings and stuff like that, or making videos, animation. I mean, I love it all, and I just want to get it out there.
Ralph also plays the bass, so that's a pretty awesome.
bass.
That too,
Man.
music.
Form of art.
If I could get that out there, just like to be able to put music out there that people enjoy, I would love that.
I guess what I mean is like I know that you aren't working towards that. So like you're not in a band that's trying to do something. So what are the ones that I know that you have a job in graphic design. So
Well, I wouldn't say right now that's my dream right now to be doing that. But like I said, it's working towards that through a career. But like I am working on stuff behind the scenes. I'm just not putting anything out yet. And I think that's just sort of something that's crucial towards making something that I like, that I want to get out there. But at the same time, I don't want to be dwelling on making something perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Done is better
Yeah.
than perfect.
yeah, that's such a great line. Say it again.
Done is better than perfect.
Yas.
I did not come up with that, by the way. Just
Go ahead. Go ahead. Cite the guy because
Who
he's pretty cool.
did?
I don't know her name.
Oh man,
Her
I have to
and
cite
to
it.
her.
You can follow
So
me.
It's a man.
You can follow me on Twitter. I tweeted it and I I put her name
follow
there.
It, let's get some. By the way, we have a freaking Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. We're on all the podcast apps except for 4 that I'm going to be signing up for tomorrow. We're on Stitcher, Blueberry, iTunes, all that stuff. So let your peeps know. Anyways,
That really resonates a lot with me because I feel really similar. Is that the job is just kind of like a vessel towards the goal.
Exactly.
yeah.
When you were
And-
talking, I was like, I feel this dude right here.
Yeah, because I really want my job to align with like one dimension of my personality, but I feel like that just life is so broad. It's really hard to sum up your life in one job,
Yeah.
and that whole like 60s baby boomer idea that like you get a job and then you get better at that job and then eventually you're better at that job and then you're running the guy that
And
used
now
to
there's
do that
no
job.
turning
And
back.
it's just yeah.
And now you're a shark, and you're the boss, and you're the shot caller.
It's just the fact that that's kind of like the pivotal point of your life. So like right now I'm pursuing nursing because that sounds awesome. You work less, and nurses would hate that I say this, but you work less than
Hours
your
wise,
free
you
time.
work
Yeah,
less.
so
Yes.
a full-time nursing position is 3 days a week. You work 12.
But I'd say they work
12.
probably
It's
the
nonstop
hardest.
because right now,
Yeah.
from when I work in the
No
hospital,
question.
is that a service position towards nurses for their own health and physical activity.
And you deal with them
nutrition.
in their worst
yeah
place
Capacity.
usually.
Yeah, so they put in a lot of work and it's like a rough 12-hour shift, but then you get 4 days off. And the fact that I can pursue something I like for 3 days
Exactly.
and then continue pursuing all the other dimensions
Yeah.
and like the variety of things I'm interested in rather than just defining my Monday through Friday, good luck recovering on Tuesday.
Yeah, you get one choice at what you want to do, and you better like it.
Yeah,
rather than
exactly.
I can do something that I like on the side to help fund the things that I'm dreaming to do.
Yeah. Plus, I find the human body is just so interesting. So the fact
Yes.
that you can just diversify from nursing. Nursing's really just
So
a
good.
platform to dive into the ocean of healthcare is another appealing
The
thing.
ocean of dive into the ocean of healthcare. That sounded like a commercial.
I made that. But
Yeah, the human body is
that really resonates with me, Ralph. Though.
Cool,
Just
cool.
the fact that it's a vessel.
Yeah.
Me too. So I guess we're all just feeling each other.
Yeah.
Me too.
Feeling myself.
I'm feeling all the resonations.
You guys are welcome.
Yeah, when you were talking, Matt, and you said more like a state of being,
Mm-hmm.
that gave me an answer that I haven't had, actually. I was talking to my friend.
Snap.
I was talking to my
Ooh.
friend
That just
Brandon.
made me teary-eyed.
Oh,
Keep it together. Wipe it up with
I
the
wonder if
pizza.
Brandon listens to this podcast. I've brought him up 3 times already. So I was
Pizza's
talking to my
gone.
friend
Nope, he
Brandon.
hates us.
Probably. We were talking about like he's pursuing something right now, and it's basically like encompasses a lot of things he wants to do. And was asking like, "What do you want to do?" And I was like, I can't explain it. Like when I do things, I enjoy doing them for a time, and then it's like that's over now, and I want to do something else. I'm always thinking like, okay, there has to be this thing that I want to do, but
Forever.
yeah, but and I know that's not what it is. I just feel like it should be. I think that's the answer. Is I need to strive for who I want to be, I guess.
Instead of what you want to
Mhm.
do.
Yeah, I know who I want to be, but look, oh shoot, Kyle's dancing on that one. Right as
I'm
I,
feeling myself.
Strive for who you want to be instead of what you want to do.
I think what you do
We made
is
that quote
very
together.
Kaio
important. though.
2016.
I'd like to say that I think what you do is very important. Like what you do, Kaio, says something about you. So I think that's important. But I digress. The dreams that I have that are like short-term dreams or whatever, one of them was actually last year when Charlie brought up podcasting. I was like, I want to do that. Even if it's 2 episodes and it sucks and no one ever hears it, I want to do that. And here we are doing it, and we have our first sponsor.
Is this
Check that out.
podcast a dream in itself?
It's a dream goal task that I've always wanted, that I've wanted to do since I've heard about it. I was like, I think I could do that.
Mini
But
dream.
like, I want to see Machu Picchu. A lot of dreams
Yes.
I have to do with traveling. Of
Ain't no
course.
snow there, girl.
Let's no get there. It's double win.
I want to see every part.
yeah.
I want to see the
world.
pyramids.
I was actually talking to a friend about this recently, about the whole, I don't know, I think I have pretty good ideas for like inventions and things, and oh, that would be a good idea for something on TV, or how come this isn't a thing, or whatever. And that's where those things die. Like they just die in that, hey, maybe what if, oh, that's a good idea. So I really think this podcast is a great example of something that was, hey, that was a good idea, and we're doing it right now.
Yeah.
And that's such an awesome thing to have something that's so different and so fresh and new in my life right now. And it might not have been something that's a huge dream that I was like, oh man, I really want to be in a
But you're enjoying
podcast
doing
someday.
it.
But yeah, this is pretty cool. So there's that.
Actually, let's talk about something you brought up. You kind of brought it up. If no one has anything to say about it, I'll delete it. What do you think about when it's time to give up?
When it's time to give up on your dreams.
Is there a time to give up, or like?
I think like I mentioned before, the things that come to mind. I mean, I know I have like many more, but those are the ones that popped into my head, thinking about this episode. But I think that when something continues to resurface, especially when you push it in the back of your mind and then it continues on for like years, that's when you know, okay, this is something that I have to pursue. If you have this, like, let's say it's not one specific goal, but it's a state of being, like Matt was saying, it's a state of being, and then all of a sudden you're just like, I don't want to be like that anymore, then that wasn't purposed, if that makes any sense. Then
what if the thing that keeps resurfacing though is just something you're actually like kind of obsessed with and it's not healthy, but you want to pursue it?
Well, there are some people that would say that an obsession
fame
is something that you should strive for. So they see it as a synonym for passion.
But what if it's unhealthy? Like people who are pursuing fame or something that's not
There are
good.
a lot of artists out there. I mean, it doesn't have to do with artists, but just for an example, there are a lot of artists out there who are crazy about the one thing that they are, and that's what has pushed them to achieve what they wanted to achieve.
It's true. There's like a fine line between obsession and passion.
Yeah.
And really beautiful things have come out of a really unhealthy obsession. And so it's kind
Very
of
true.
That's a really complicated.
Yeah.
As Kanye West said,
Don't mention him.
name one genius who ain't crazy.
Einstein.
He was a little crazy.
Yes.
Same.
I love him, but he was a little
He
crazy.
had a messed up
Look
social
at that
life.
hairdo.
Couldn't keep it together.
He wore the same clothes.
There's a lot of Einstein
Yeah, it's
rumors
not-
or little facts.
Prove it.
Anyways, yeah. If something continues to resurface in your mind or in your soul or whatever, then that's something that you should never give up on. Personally, that's what I think. So,
Okay.
Why are
Does
you
anyone have
laughing?
anything to combat that?
I haven't.
wait, medicated Ralph, why are you laughing?
Oh yeah, Rob's on drugs right now.
If you want to touch kids and it just keeps coming up, just go pursue it. Just pursue
Oh,
it.
we know that's what
You
we're
dirty
talking about-
SOB.
Maybe draw the line at legalities.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I'm just filling in the formula that I was provided.
Okay, so disclaimer: we are not talking about illegal things, or
What about when
or
what's
things that are
illegal?
gonna.
Isn't
something
illegal
What
just
about
a
when
frame
someone at
of-
the
Here's-
table wants to make meth?
If
What do
your
we do?
if your goal is
It's
going to
really-
hurt someone or hinder their freedoms or in any way, that is when you need to stop, because that So not even just illegal. If your goals are going to ruin someone else's life in some way, like what Ralph just said, then that is when you need to stop.
I'm voting
Yes,
for
but
you,
like
Katie.
the Holocaust gave us the Diary of Anne Frank.
No, not worth it. not at all
I don't wanna
balanced out
make-
at all there.
I do not want to make meth. I'm just saying I could.
You just pointed yourself out, Matt. I did not say it was you.
I'm just saying. On the topic of dropping your dreams,
Okay, yeah, go on.
I've never really encountered the problem of dropping my dreams, because maybe I feel like there's not a sharp rift, but there is a rift between, there's like a camp over here and camp over there of like state of mind, kind of like a vessel or a purpose, and then people that have concrete objectives that they're striving for. And since I never really have a concrete objective, it's never something that I really have to make a decision in stopping, because it's just kind of helping me pursue what I want to be, which is happy in life, pursuing things I like in life. So for me to kind of stop pursuing my dream, it would kind of just be a depressing stop of life.
What about settling? Like you're still pursuing your dream, but you haven't gotten to the place you're like. Let's say you're 75, and your main dream was to do something physical, and you just can't anymore. What do you think about settling stuff?
I think people settle every day, and while it's unfortunate,
I think
and
that's
depressing,
situational.
it's
Yeah.
Yeah, everything's situational. I'm just saying, what do you think about it? Is there a time to settle and
I
just
think-
be like, okay, I've done enough?
I think
Okay.
you should rework your dream that way. You can't do the exact physical labor thing that you're talking about. Find something else that's doable that can still fulfill that need,
And
it's all about reworking it.
And it's also, you just brought up another example of having a concrete goal. If I'm too old to pursue something,
Yeah.
then it's you're never going to be too old or too unable to pursue just your general happiness and happiness with your lot in life.
All the more reason to
So-
stick with that one.
Yeah.
Ashley had something to add to that.
Well, I was just going to say that if you do settle or if you do not, any circumstance that you're in, you can make it a fortunate one. And for example, one of my favorite stories and films is A Wonderful Life with James Stewart. And if you're familiar with it, great, I applaud you. There's this character, George Bailey, who always had this dream of traveling the world, seeing the pyramids, just seeing everything beyond the town that he grew up in. And unfortunately, based on life, that didn't happen. So there's a spoiler, by the way. That didn't happen. And he ended up working at his family's business, and he never got to achieve those dreams that drove him crazy. They drove him mad, and he sought them insanely, but it just didn't work out. And at the end of the film, he realizes that everything that he encountered along the way was more, I don't want to say beneficial, but like was the greatest dream that he never even dreamt of. So basically, I see it as there are people that do settle, and it's very unfortunate, but I don't think you should focus on the settlement, because you can make your life fortunate and you can make your life great where you are, even if you never achieved a certain dream that you always sought.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah, like it just yes, snaps.
It's like a super sophisticated up.
But we have all these crazy hopes and dreams and ambitions, and the truth of it is we're in the minority in terms of what we can actually achieve with our goals. For instance, there's in India houses 1/3 of our poorest population of the below poverty population of the world, and we're talking about all these like places we want to go, travel to, and all these things that are going to build fulfillment in our life that are kind of grandiose when you think about all the kids in the slums who they're just really, really hoping that they're going to have food the next day, so but that's not to say that you shouldn't dream at all. That's to say, work it around whatever you're handed.
I was going to ask, that was one of my next questions. When we know that there's suffering in the world, is dreaming selfish?
I don't think so.
If you aren't dreaming for something that will help those people, is it selfish?
I don't think so. But you should reevaluate your values. One of my dreams is to go and find ways to make other people's lives better. With child psychology, I'm really hoping to work in foster care or something like that where, and I've reworked my goals to help other people find goals, I don't know. I'm just like, whatever life's handing you, you can still have dreams. I think those kids should have dreams too, but it doesn't make your dreams any less valid or should keep you from dreaming. But there is a place where you need to have a perspective that, the fact that you have a comfy ass bed to sleep in every night and air conditioning every day, remember those too. Like, have your dreams and also like be present, be thankful.
Grounded, yeah.
Like, so much to be thankful for.
You can't just live your life like with your head in the clouds.
Yeah, and I think that makes your goals like that much more awesome as well. I don't know. The more thankful you are for the little things, the more dope the bigger things are.
I personally feel like there's a fine line between having somebody be a part of your life and having somebody being the integral part of your dream. So I don't feel like it's selfish for me to dream and pursue my own dreams. I think it's selfish of somebody else to expect me to put mine on hold to somehow support them.
Ooh, snap it.
That's fire.
Man, this
Capitalism.
No, I mean that gets in a whole like another podcast on morals, but it's
And we invite you.
I would feel unjustified to put a weight on someone saying that if you were to leave or you were to change, you were to put some sort of inconvenience on my life, it would just to be unbearable. It's not a weight.
Yeah, to force someone to not
Exactly.
pursue their dream is to add to the problem instead
Exactly.
of fixing it in the first place.
Okay, that's a good point.
So, yeah, I know there's the whole mentality, especially back in colonial times, you make kids because you need a free labor force. But it's just, particularly with kids, I know a bunch of people that feel such a responsibility to their parents, and I'm blessed that my family doesn't even remotely put that on me. But people that end up kind of cutting those ties and leaving them, I never really fault them for that, because I feel like you're your own independent person that needs to go pursue something for you. And whether your parents made the choice to include you and to like consciously bring you into the world or not, to put a weight on you that you owe them something would be just selfish on their part.
I don't know. I don't think I can speak on behalf of everybody else, but I feel like in pursuing my own dreams, I don't feel obligated to, but I feel influenced to help others, and that like eventually becomes another dream of mine. Like in making art and like wanting people to enjoy that, I've discovered like there's these glasses called, like, I think they're like called Enchroma glasses, but pretty much what they do is they help colorblind people see color. Whoa. So I feel like that would be like one of my goals is to like sort of fund that so that I can help people receive those glasses, like just paying for them.
The first couple times I saw any of those videos where it was like people hearing for the first time, I totally teared up.
Oh yeah.
Was it?
Yeah.
Oh yes.
So intense.
Isn't there a video of Enchroma where a guy sees purple and like flips out?
Dude, really?
Yeah.
He's like, purple.
If you're having a bad day, watch those videos on YouTube because they are just like, wow.
Can we add? We need to put links to.
Yeah,
some of those.
we'll put a link to that in the show
Yeah.
notes. I'll send one to Jason so he does that.
That'd be so random. Dreams? Oh yeah, watch this person here for the first time.
We mention it. It's relevant. So
Okay.
Boom.
Yeah, I think those are the most fulfilling dreams, is ones that
Yeah, for
aren't
sure.
actually your own goals, but helping other people reach their goals. Is like, but that's not to, belittle your own goals. I think those are important too. But damn, is it so fulfilling to like see someone, reach their goals, and it has, I don't know, I feel like a more lasting effect, especially like leaves a mark on your character. And
yeah,
kinda
and
same
who
too.
knows what kind of dreams that can spark in other people.
Ooh. That would be fantastic. I think that's such a great feeling to be able to spark a dream in someone else. Like I want my younger brother to kind of like the things that I like, especially with working with the kids with special needs. Anytime there's a take your child to work day, I'll try to convince my brothers to not just lay at home and play video games that day and actually come to my job. And this last time they asked me. It was the first time that
I saw that on Snapchat.
I saw that on Snapchat.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
That was the first time that they came to me when it was take your child to work day and asked to come to my job, and I was like, maybe.
Hey, tell them to listen to the podcast.
So yeah, there's
That's
that.
great.
All right. What do you guys think about this?
Yes.
The American dream has been a part of our culture since the 1930s, and it has at times referred to home ownership, a good job, retirement security, or each generation doing better than the last. Now comes a new young adult population to say it means none of that. The dream is really about day-to-day control of your life, which I think is very interesting. A new poll, 38% of, this is from Time Magazine, by the way, a new poll, 38% of millennials say travel is a part of the American dream, exceeding the 28% who name secure retirement. They identify the dream of home ownership at a far lower rate than Gen X. Meanwhile, 26% of millennials cite self-employment as a part of the dream. So, that being said, a lot of us said that we like freedom and choice in general. So, what is it in an age where we have education at our fingertips, knowledge at our fingertips, the ability to reach out to potentially thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of people at any moment via the internet? What is stopping us, not as a generation, us at the table, from pursuing whatever it is that we want to do?
Didn't we discuss?
Ooh,
I am
I have
pursuing what I want to do.
Me too.
But are there
Matt's
any
really
obstacles?
Okay,
But
Matt's
what are
really
the
good
obstacles?
at that. I would say distraction is a huge one. And then the convenience as well. Like, for instance, it would be so easy for me to take another semester off and just work and just make money or whatever, and just like so that I could have spending money as opposed to all my money going towards school. It's so easy to like watch other people's lives on Instagram, or what, I don't have Instagram right now anymore, but it was so easy to like see all these different things that I could be
You
buying
can say it the way
instead
you
of
said
like
it
getting
before,
my,
because that was funny.
I don't remember what it was now.
Seeing
That's the
speckles.
distraction part.
Oh, well, yeah. And then for me personally, I'm like just stupidly curious person. And it starts out that I like go on Google and I'm like, hey, what are these like dots in front of my eyes when I look at the sky, the floaty things? And like 3 days later I come to and I'm like, what year is it? And do I have friends anymore?
She has spider powers.
And like, I mean, it's so bad. And I think that's really like the mindless scrolling and scrolling and scrolling. It's like really hard. And it starts out like I'm really curious and like I want to know all these things. And then I'm like looking at this hot girl's like Instagram being like, I wish I was her. And like, and then it just like spirals from there. And you're just, I don't know, for me it is information overload.
It's not your fault that you have all of the information in the entire planet like in your hand.
Yeah, it's a
in your pocket.
self-control thing, honestly, and it's great that we have that available. But it's to me, it's one of the hardest. Like, instead of pursuing an art form or you know, whatever, being proactive about my studies or something like that, you know, it's you start out in this curious way and then you're like locked in. At least, you know, that's definitely one for me.
So scrap us at the table, then something that's a stumbling block for our generation you think is wasting time. Doing something that has
I would
nothing
say
to do with what you're trying to do.
It's that weird
more
part of
than-
YouTube, man.
Oh my gosh, dude,
that dark corner
YouTube.
at 2 a.m.
Just that weird
YouTube
part.
is my worst
You're
thing,
like, you start
too.
off watching like a interview on Ellen or something, and then you end in like pimple popping.
Every time.
Everything
No.
ends in pimple
Or we
popping.
start at pimple popping.
Yeah, we usually start at pimple pop.
Those
And then you
blackheads,
end
man.
in like projectile lactating boobs.
Holy cow!
That's on YouTube, by the way.
That's how we're gonna end our night.
That
by the
was
way.
I've never been there before.
This episode's gonna have to be explicit.
That was a
Okay.
sharp turn.
Yeah, I don't agree with any of that.
Yeah,
YouTube is a wholesome place.
yeah.
The internet in general is just such a spectator sport for me. Like, I literally contribute in no way to the content of
You're
the
just a
internet.
lurker?
Creeper.
I'm a lurker. I look exactly. I've got one video on YouTube. You'll never find it.
Oh.
And
We're
Yeah,
gonna
I'll
find
start
it.
searching.
I'll send it to you.
Oh, we're gonna.
otherwise, I
Link it.
literally just look at what other people are doing with their life, and I feel like that's a real problem for me
Yeah.
on the internet. Is that I don't have an issue with comparing myself to others, but I'm just spectating what others are doing with their life. And all of the time that I'm doing that, they're probably using that time to actually go make and do things that I'm sitting there watching.
Yeah, it's super hard to pull yourself away from it too.
I don't know about that. I think a lot of times the prettiest Instagram and prettiest like social media pages and all that, a lot of times that's not their life. That's
true
the
as
life
well.
that they've painted to look.
It's
that
no less
way.
distracting though.
This is true, but that's not to say that they're out and they're doing it and
Oh,
they're
for
living their
sure.
life or whatever. They're just showing you the highlights.
No.
Yeah, but that's the problem, right? Is that we're watching all these people's highlights. And for me, it was a huge comparison problem. And I stopped doing social media for multiple reasons. But I don't miss Facebook, you know, even for a second, because the feeling that you get after you're just at the end of that mindless scrolling and you're like, I don't know, it's just such an empty feeling at the end of it, which is not for everyone. To be honest, I was like probably a pretty extreme case. But even without it, like it's, you know, I think we're criticized for having all that information out there, but even if I don't address the problem, even if I were to like completely cut out all kinds of internet ties, I'm going to find some other way to distract myself, you know, newspapers or video games or, you know, whatever it is. Like it's I don't think social media is necessarily the problem. I think it's this outlet that you're not addressing the problem and that you're either checking out of life or you're just allowing yourself to get too sucked into something that's very comfortable and
It's more
and
of
whatever.
of a symptom rather than the ailment.
Yeah. So I think there is this huge thing of like just social media just being so horrible because this and that, and it's like, yeah, but we're gonna find some way to express that, like, not dark part of you, but you know, like almost in a way kind of like that dark part of you.
So
I don't know.
Pre-social media, what would you say the generation before
Ooh,
us?
I actually have an answer to this.
What was their thing?
Oh man.
Drugs.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm
That's
saying
kind of our generation too, though. But
I'm saying
yeah,
the social media was way more real life. Like, not to be, this is kind of a small example of it, but not a small example, but one example is women who were stay-at-home wives and they'd have all their girlfriends over and they'd gossip and they'd
at the
waste all
Tupperware
the
parties, right?
Yes.
That was really a thing, right?
That's a
Yeah.
thing.
And I mean,
Wow.
and you know, going to the bar after work instead of going home to your family. I don't know. Like, there's always some way that you can express that part of you that's like trying to check out of life and trying to, I feel like, go through life on autopilot or you know, find comfort. I think we're wired to like find comfort and wired to like reward ourselves.
Yeah, and it's so easy for our generation
Yes.
to do that. Whereas before, you had to organize a freaking party and sell Tupperware to do it.
Yeah.
and you had to like.
And not that any of those things are wrong.
Well,
but
yeah.
but
Without
we make
texting.
them-
Exactly. Oh my gosh, you had to call each other. That person had to be in their home at the time, which they probably spent a lot of time there.
So much effort.
Or you had to like drive to a bar or something. And right now, I could literally be recording this podcast and like be gossiping about you at the same time with Jason.
I know, we just have less effort to go through to express those, issues. So yeah, I just find that interesting. I'm like, that's a huge thing for me in terms of meeting my goals, is thinking, other aspects of my life, like, I don't need that degree right now. Like, instead, and things like wanting to move and like having that wanderlust thing of like
that's such
watching
a huge
people,
part of our generation.
yeah, and watching people live in these gorgeous areas. Of course, they're taking, the filtered pictures or whatever. But me being like, you know what, I'll just get my degree later. I'm just gonna go move to Denver and like work as a waitress and this and that or whatever. Which there's nothing wrong with that, but that would I know myself, and I know that would just leave me unfulfilled as much as I was before, and so as opposed to like sticking it out, living with my parents so that I could put myself in the best financial situation in order to get the degree that I want and work the job that for the first time in my life, I feel like it's something that I could do with my life and feel fulfilled, so that kind of, so making hard choices, making like the tough choices now so you could have like the dope choices later.
Dude,
I love that you're
dope has been on
you're
here
making
3 or
dope
4
I'm
times
so
now.
sorry.
I
I've
love
watched
it.
so much
Awesome.
Broad
Various
City right
forms
now.
of
If
dope
anybody
also.
out there watches Broad City,
Yes.
hit me up. And they say it all the time, and I'm
tagging on to what Katie was saying really quick about the dreams and dang it, the wanderlust thing, and like seeing people
The what?
wanderlust, whatever.
Wanderlust, yeah.
Wanderlust.
Yeah, wanderlust. Some people just wander lost, and they're trying to find wanderlust.
That's me.
Seeing people on all these like they just dropped everything and moved to like France and don't even speak French, and they just have like their little
I know
stick.
someone that did that.
They have their little stick with the polka dot sack on it. You know what I'm talking about?
The hobo
yeah.
suitcase.
The hobo
Yes.
train
Handkerchief.
track.
Yeah,
I did that when I was a kid.
millennial reference
did
from
that.
our.
He
our
literally
wait, is
did that
our
when I
Their,
was a
their
kid.
patch jacket.
Anyway, so you see stuff like that, and you're just like, man. And part of my dreamer wants to do that. Wants to just drop everything. And I just want to move, and I want to be somewhere where I don't know anyone, and I'm forced to make friends with strangers, and I just like go to places I've never been and experience the world. And then the other part of me is like the other part of my dreamer per se, like wants to stay here and
The practical side of you.
and just tackle this this passion of mine for kids with special needs. And it's the hard part is like balancing that out.
Life is literally like one crappy balance between your practical side and your adventurer side, and
Yeah.
And social media just makes that
yes,
hard because I'm like, man, so and so just did that. They just dropped everything, and they don't have my situation, and I don't even know the details of any of that. But it just looks like, man, they just dropped everything and moved to Tokyo. Why can't I do that?
Yeah, I'd say that's a huge, last thing before I talk everyone's ear off. That's a huge thing for our generation to keep in balance, is that being, I think that the generation before us might have had a lot better, was that being a rock and being consistent and showing up, when you don't want to. And when we do have all these choices, we could just buy a plane ticket and we could just dip, and go find a hostel and like go meet some people and like go not Airbnb, what's it, couch surf, and those things are so good. Like, that's such an amazing experience we have. And at the same time, it's like we also need people who are going to be there and do the grind and like do the day in and day
Like
out
Jason.
and be, for real. Jason is probably like legit one of the best people that I've ever witnessed to be that way, when he like pursues his dreams and also like shows up when he needs to be there and does the grind,
Thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm so glad you guys brought up balance, because that's what I've been wanting to share. It's like, I think the greatest obstacles are time and money, like we've mentioned. And for example, I have 3 jobs, and I know Jason has 3 or 4, and yet one of our goals or dreams was to do a podcast, and yet we're doing it right now. So on top of being married, owning a house, having pets, having friends, having families that do need us, and spending time with them, and then achieving our goals, it's all about finding the balance. And you'll make time for things that you are crazy about, even if we want to say obsessed about. We're not obsessed with podcasting, but for an example. What?
No,
that was
I'm
funny.
saying no.
He's a
we're
great
not.
I thought you were like, no,
Not
don't
by
say
any
that.
means.
I was like, no way. I won't
No,
say
you know what I'm addicted to? Going and checking how many.
how many listens
We've
have.
gotten 4 since we've been sitting here recording.
What? So I'm
Wait,
so
we're
glad
recording
that
live?
No.
Katie.
No.
I'm so glad that Katie and Kyle, KK, mentioned balance, because it's all about that. It's all about finding that middle ground to achieve what you want to achieve while still living and making, being alive in this day and age, having a roof over your head, having food in your stomach, and still being able to do for others and do for yourself with what you want. So
I'd say in this group, Ralph is the best at balancing things.
Yeah, like right now.
he's literally balancing his.
He's currently, the whole time Ashley was
With
talking,
no
he's,
case on your
he's
phone,
balancing
Ralph.
his
Come
phone
on.
and his finger to
Listen,
drive the point
iPhone.
home.
I've never broken any of my.
I don't want to hear
devices.
that. Get
I
outta
said that
here.
once.
Okay.
I've said it multiple times, so I'm on a
I
roll.
can't wait until you break it.
I'm just gonna
All right,
break
Mister, drop it
myself.
off a towel.
A towel?
It was wrapped in my towel, and I picked up the
Oh.
towel, and my phone fell. Like, I'm a
That's
human.
that's deep. That's
Can't be
for
a
real.
Robot over here.
Are we good?
What?
Want to keep
You didn't do the tips.
tips?
Katie brought
I
it
said
up.
my tips was finding your balance,
Oh,
find your
okay.
middle ground. Wait,
That is like.
He was listening.
Yes, I was listening, but you weren't like.
We
tips.
got-
You
we
just-
got-
I have.
Okay.
One,
I didn't say
have
tips,
one-
but I said I suggest.
We got a
Yo.
few good, like, quotes.
I know.
out
I
of
wrote.
this.
I wrote them down.
We
Like,
should make
you
a
got
segment
One, we got one. You got
where we
one.
just give advice and we call it
My
just
favorite
the tips.
is, what am I saying? There's never leftover pie.
Did you hear that?
No.
I said we should make a segment where we give advice and we call it just the tips.
That's in
I
stone.
love it.
It's done.
I love
we,
it.
we need Lauren to sing the theme song for that one too, and we're set.
Oh, that was
The
such a
theme
good-
song is I don't know.
I just unplugged my headphones because I laughed so hard at that.
Gold.
Just a tip.
Katie, give us the tip. It was
We're
your
gonna keep that
idea.
one?
But only
Okay.
that. That's all we can handle.
I don't know.
Katie said before we started this, she said,
Ralph,
"Okay,
you
but
were
how?"
gold. I'm sorry.
Katie said before we start this, how we gonna end it? We shouldn't just end it with like whatever complaining or however you want to call it. We're just like
We're
yeah,
not complaining.
this and that and dreams and I don't know.
Well, no, yeah.
Let's end it with
we
steps
picked
to
a
following your
topic-
goals.
Yeah, we picked a topic that's like ridiculously hard to articulate. I feel like without
Yes.
without sounding one side or the other, without sounding like a whiny American or without sounding like a pretentious, whatever.
I'm
So-
not American.
Well,
Oh my god. Plot twist. But I will say, for whoever clicked on this thinking like, oh my God, yes, finally someone's going to give me like tips on how to follow my dreams and goals.
Sorry.
You clicked the wrong thing. But I will say for me, like the biggest thing for me that has like turned my entire life around was asking for help. And I know that sounds so obvious, but I'm not talking about just like, your mom and dad or whatever. I'm the kind of person who's scared to tell the waiter like that I need more ketchup. Like I'm just Matt's sitting here like just nodding because if something's wrong with my food, I just am like, no, it's okay.
First
I love
world
it.
anxiety.
That's all right. I'll just
Yeah.
smash these tomatoes.
Exactly.
What?
It's so real. But the biggest thing for me was to step out of my comfort zone and ask people who I think are like better than me, or even just like hounding my advisor in community college that I'm going to right now, who's super busy, but also there, he's very much so like there to help. And I was really fortunate to find someone and really seek out the people who actually like genuinely want to help and help you figure things out. Because I mean, just the thought of trying to get myself, at 23, start community college like from bare bones, nothing, I was so overwhelmed, and I had lived in another state. My taxes were like all over the place, and I had like several month long process where I just had to like get my stuff in order and other things too that were going on. And like hounding my advisor to be like, I have so many questions for you. Just ask all the questions and draw people into your process. Either it's a humility thing. They don't feel like humbling themselves enough to ask, or they're scared or whatever. Like just drop all those things, because those are what's going to like keep you from leveling up in life, is not going and asking people who have already been there, done that, and crushed it, So Go ask the people who crushed it so that you can crush it.
And be dope.
And be dope.
Yeah, I think there's value in asking that kind of thing because you see that there's struggle in other people and you realize that you're not the only one going through this, and otherwise you feel like you're just alone and can't really deal with things.
Very isolating.
Yeah. So in seeking that kind of thing, you sort of see, look, we're all struggling, but we'll help each other out.
Yeah, legit. And it's such a simple thing, but it's amazing how many people like don't get to where they need to be because they're just like, you know what, I couldn't figure it out. Sorry, like I did my best. And it's like there was someone right next to you who already been there, done that, and you just didn't want to, go through it.
That kind of brings me to my tip that I want to put in, which is to that there are.
I love that older people won't get that joke, so I'm still cool with saying. Like my parents will be like, "What?" Yeah.
All right. Anyway,
maybe my dad will get it.
Yeah, Dad definitely will get it.
It's
Mom got it.
There are learning opportunities. There are learning opportunities everywhere. Like, don't be afraid to learn from somebody, from a toddler.
Yeah.
You can learn.
That's what Joey was saying.
Yeah, you can learn from anyone, and that's I think that's one thing that it's not even a generational issue. I think that's just a human thing. I was actually talking to a friend earlier. Maybe it is a generational thing because he was telling me about his family and how he was raised, and it was just like the older people in his family didn't value anything you said if you were below a certain age. If you were below a certain age, if you were like younger than your maybe mid to late 20s,
that's a mistake.
You didn't, like, nothing you said mattered. Like, you didn't have a point of view. You were always wrong in any kind of debate or argument or anything. And I think that's a horrible way to live your life. Like, you can learn. I learn every day from the kids I work with, just from friends, from strangers, just people. Like, you can learn from everyone. And I think it'll definitely help you pursue whatever you're pursuing if you have that open mind to just
be humble enough to do that. That's a huge thing, is I think people don't pursue new things in life because they don't want to be humble enough to start from the very bottom and work as a barista so that you can own a coffee shop and do that.
That is a problem that our generation definitely does have. They want immediate results.
Yeah. I can remember being a kid and my parents were starting to be like, "Hey, Katie, like, you need to start getting a job." And I was probably 15 or 16. And they're very much so like, get a job as soon as you can. And I remember being like, I don't want to bag at Publix, or I don't want to bag at the grocery store or whatever. And
you want to go straight to marketing team.
Basically, yeah. And they were like, "Are you serious? Like, you think you're better than them?" Like, slap, not really. They're white parents, so they, but that was a big wake up call for me, is like, no, I'm not better than them. And get off your high horse, Yeah.
Yeah. The only advice I'd give would be a lot of what you guys said. Listen to people younger than you and older than you, especially the people older than you, for sure.
Yeah.
And just have that drive. Just push and push and push and push to get what it is that you're going for.
So your tip is to push. Got it.
Yep. Push the tip.
I think part of the whole wanting to skip all the lower level stuff is I feel like now more than ever we have that ability to almost, like, we see people just like jumping to the top.
Right, but it's not healthy.
Sure, but I think it's attributed to the exposure to that kind of thing.
It is.
Not just we were born that way and we were entitled.
Yeah, it gives you unrealistic expectations, I feel like.
Yeah, I just feel like we're sort of conditioned to be that way from our environment right now.
That was our second podcast that we
talked about entitlement for a little bit. Yeah. All right, Ashley, wrap it up. On a day history.
It happened today, but a long time ago.
In 2005, Martha Stewart was released from prison.
Oh.
Do you guys remember that? Do you remember what she did? Does anyone know?
Yes.
Yeah.
Does anyone know who Martha Stewart is?
She makes like
tax
cupcakes
evasion.
and stuff.
She what?
Makes like cupcakes.
She
and stuff.
makes
kind
like
of
cupcakes
white
and
people
stuff.
crime.
About as
Tax evasion.
about as
wasn't
a
it?
Yeah.
white collar as you get. No, it was
In 01, she was
Insider trading.
insider trading.
yeah. She sold 4,000 shares of this company's stock. I'm Clone Systems, which they developed cancer therapy drugs, and the day before listen to this. The day before the stock tanked because one of their newest drugs was not approved by the FDA, she sold her 4,000 shares. So then an investigation started, and she was arrested, and her friend who actually ran the company was arrested too, but her friend got 7 years in prison, which is really intense.
Well, it's Martha. They're not going to put her there.
Yeah, they put her 5 months in prison, and then she got to do the remainder at her house.
I heard
which is
she was there with
153
Snoop
acres
Dogg.
and
Is that
stuff.
true?
At her house?
No, in jail.
I don't know. But I thought this was really
That'd be an
interesting because
awesome
I remember
roommate.
when this happened. I was like, wait. Because I remember seeing her on the television and my grandmother watching her. And then all of a sudden, like a news clip of her getting arrested. And I was like, why is that lady who makes cakes and like decorates her house all the time getting arrested right now?
Yeah.
Like I didn't understand what was happening.
I kind of didn't know fully who she was. Like I heard her name, like Betty Crocker, Martha Stewart, but one of those
Aunt
hoes.
Jemima.
I don't know.
Is everybody,
What'd you just say?
You heard me.
You're tired. You just called Martha Stewart a hoe. You're tired.
does everybody know how insider trading works?
No.
So, publicly traded companies have to report
Man,
4
Matt, you
times
know a
a
lot of
year
stuff.
how much money they made or lost over the quarter. So the day before, everybody had to say, well, we made money or we lost money, which usually results in like your stock bouncing a lot. The day before they reported that, the owner of the company called Martha and was like, you should get rid of it because tomorrow is going to be bad.
Oh.
And then Martha dumped all her stock before technically the report comes out.
And she didn't think it'd be like red flag, or she thought people would be like, "Oh, it's Martha."
People do it all the time.
Oh, okay.
But
Why
it's illegal if
do
you
you
get
say
caught.
like that? Because
You do it.
I don't do it, but a lot of people have access to the information. So
he
I'm sure
said
it
people
happens
do it all the time, and he kind of like pointed at himself a little bit.
My hands are down here. Don't you but no, accountants have a lot of access to that information, so it happens quite a lot, I'm sure. But she just got caught because she was like mad obvious about it.
Mad obvious.
Mad obvious.
Dope obvious.
Dope.
Okay.
All right, so that ends our episode on dreams. I hope you guys took something from that, because I feel like all of us around the table did. You can follow us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all that good stuff. We are the Millennials Podcast on all of them except for Twitter. On Twitter, we are Millennials Pod. So yeah, follow us. Ratings, reviews, likes, all of that good stuff on iTunes. We're on Stitcher. We're all over the place. And the ones that we're not on, we will be on them very soon. Once again, thank you to our sponsors, and we will see you on episode 6.